Hi, friends. Welcome back. So, it has been a minute. It's been a couple of weeks, but I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for watching. Let me know where you're watching from. My name is Lisa Renice. I'm a multi passionate creative here to encourage you to live life of your dreams. And yeah, welcome. Wow, 5 people here already. Welcome. Hi, everybody. All right. I got like this blue light filter glasses, and it's very messy. So, we'll see. I might just take them off. Anyway, welcome. I hope you can hear me. Hope you can see me. All that good stuff. Yay. Maybe I'll just take them off because the light's reflecting. Anyway, so I know some of you have seen the title of this video and you're like, Black excellence is a scam. Yes. So this is just my personal opinion. A lot of disclaimers, right? So there has to be a lot of disclaimers because we know that Black excellence is a thing, right? We celebrate, hi Marcus, hola. We celebrate all Black greatness and wonderful things, right? All things Black, like we celebrate everybody Black. But I really do want to talk about this idea of Black exceptionalism. Hi, welcome. Hi, everybody. So welcome to my live. But I do want to ask you all if you all can see down. I want to ask what your definition of Black excellence is. If you could share it with me, because this is something I've been grappling with. And so another disclaimer is that I've been thinking about this for a couple of months now, but I couldn't figure out how to communicate what I want to communicate. And then I'm like, oh, hi. And so I wanted to figure out how to communicate what I want to communicate, but I didn't want it to come across as judgmental or all negative, because it's not all negative, but we'll get to that in a second. But either way, I would love to see having 500. Hola. So we have Marcus, we have Jamal, we have Slady 707 2019. Is it S Lady? Welcome everybody. I'm so happy that you're here. But yes, I do want to talk about this. All right. So, of course, me, as always, I always start with some definitions. So I'm just going to share the Webster definition of a scam because some people are like, I don't know about that. So let's see. I'm going to share the screen. Oh, I should say. So I'm doing this series in August for affirmational loops where I sing songs that are encouraging and inspiring, hopefully. And so I want to talk about the different topics that some of the loops cover. So today I kind of want to reference the last one I posted, not today, but on last Monday, I think. And the idea of the song was, you're not lazy, you're just tired. And so this kind of goes along with what we're talking about today. So built by creatives. Hi. I like that name also. But yes. So you're not lazy, you're just tired. And so that's going to tie into what we're talking about Black excellence. But either way, hi, Jess. Hi. Welcome. All right. So I'm going to share the screen with you. I'm nervous. I feel like every time I take a break from going live, I get nervous to come back. And that just means I have to be more consistent. But either way, all right. Scam. Y'all ready? I have my little notes here. So the definition of a scam is to deceive or defraud someone, right? And the second one that I want to look at is to obtain something such as money by a scam, right? So people calling your phone, pretending to be the IRS or whatever, looking to get money from you. And so we're going to come back to this definition after we talk about Black excellence. Okay? Yay. All right. So, like I said, I really want to know what y'all think Black excellence is. I really do want to hear you all's definition. But again, I start with the definition of a scam because we're going to work our way backwards and talk about how Black excellence can be a scam, right? So, where did Black excellence come from? This term Black excellence. So I read an article, and I'm going to go back and double check too, because, I want to make sure I'm citing the right stuff. But essentially the idea of the Black excellence, phrase, I guess, or the idea of it came from the civil rights era. And it makes sense because, back then it doesn't matter if you were rich, poor, it didn't matter. You were still seen as less than other white people. And so, we're showing people, we're Black, but we can do X, Y, and D just like you. And sometimes we can do it better. We're Black and we can be wealthy and we can be businessmen and, we can start schools and we can be doctors, lawyers, all these things, right? Black professional. But Black excellence was used as a way to promote hey, you should appreciate me too. I'm valuable too, right? So the inception of it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. However, I feel over time, the definition of Black excellence has changed to be to only fit people that are extraordinary, right? Extraordinary Blackness, or super Negro, these terms that have been thrown around, right? So again, so it came from the civil rights era. I have my notes, so I'm not all over the place. So y'all bear with me. But we began to compete to be respected. And I feel like that's where the problem kind of started. Like, okay, I understand that we had to do it, but I also understand that with seeking to be integrated and seeking to earn respect and earn, it's almost like we were competing in a game that was already rigged, right? The game is already rigged against us. And so now we're trying to compete to be seen as worthy in this game that wants to exclude us anyway. And so now we're performing at these high rates, which we always have been. We've always been smart, but I feel like it kind of worked to our detriment sometimes too. So we wanted to be seen or recognized as capable. And again, if you disagree with me, you can leave comments and let me know if you disagree, because I want to have this dialogue. Like I said, I had this whole thing planned out where I wanted to be like precise and clean, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just work it out in real time with y'all so that we can have a conversation. But yeah, so we began to compete to be recognized and be respected. And so again, I get it. Like, I get it. We've been oppressed, we've been enslaved, we've been, under the law. And so we finally got to a place where it's like, no, I demand my rights. I demand you pay attention to me. I demand that you give me access to this school or this job or this counter or this store, right? Like, I deserve to be treated like a citizen and not just, some reject. And so, I mean, beyond a reject, but, the inception of Blackness, of Black excellence, I feel like was great. It was wonderful. However, like, it seemed harmless. It seemed harmless. It probably was back then. But the question is, how do we determine what Black excellence is today? Right? Like, so some of the things I wrote down about Black excellence that I wrote down is like wealthy. And this is like on social media, like, oh, when do we hear about people like, Black excellence, right? Starting a business, being rich. Rihanna just became a billionaire this week or last week. And so everybody's like, oh my God, Black excellence. I have thoughts on that, but I'll save that for another time. Having a high degree or a high paying job. Like, these are the things that are looked at in mass as like Black excellence. Like, this is like, oh, you've made it. You have arrived. You being rich, you having all this prestige and all this access, right? And so what I really find is that Black excellence really just mirrors capitalistic ideals. Like, Black excellence has turned into this race amongst Black people of who can reach or achieve the most based on these capitalistic ideas in this Western society, right? So it went from I am worthy, I am enough, respect me, to, oh, look at all the things I've done. Look at all the things I have. Look at all the things I have access to. Look at all the millions of dollars I've acquired, right? And now we use that as a way to say like, oh, now I'm excellent. Now I'm excellent. So it went from being like, I am inherently worthy to, oh, now I'm earning my wealth, right? And then what happens within the Black community is that you have this divide. Now you have the exceptional Blacks, and then you have like the regular low Blacks like me, right? The regular Black folks who, don't have $1 billion or don't have multi-million-dollar businesses, who don't have a bunch of college degrees. And it's no knock to people who do have it, but it really is like separating, like, oh, I'm coming out of this low place. Now I'm having access to this high place. And now I am Black excellence. One above all says, I think Black excellence would be celebrating Black people that ordinarily would not be in the respective fields. Okay. That, that I feel like my definition and yours are kind of the same. Like, or what I've seen anyway is like, oh, again, you've acquired these things that most of us have not. And so it's like, oh my God, you're exceptional. You know what I mean? So I agree with you there. Jamal CP says, I think Black excellence represent those who represent Black folk in above average ways. For example, honor students, business owners, etc. It's a spectrum though. Okay, I agree. Yeah. I feel like that's what is represented in society. Like, that is what's shown to be Black excellence. It's like, oh, you're doing more than what most of us would do. And I feel like in that way it can be harmless, but I also feel like it could be harmful. And I'll get to that in a second. But it's the idea like, oh, I've mastered it again. I have another master's degree, a doctorate. I'm a PhD in X, Y, and Z. Like having access to these high earning jobs, these degrees, and all this other stuff. So again, and so the thing is that I want to make clear is that if that is the definition, then we all can't be Black excellence. You see what I'm saying? Like, if the idea that only the people who have access to these high things or these things that normal like laymen don't have access to, then where does that lead 99.9% of the Black folk? You know what I mean? Like, where does that put us? And so classism. Like classism is a thing. It's always been a thing. When you talk about colorism, you can talk about classism, you could talk about education access, that kind of thing. But really, it almost creates another divide within the Black community. And we're going to talk a little bit about respectability politics because that's important here to talk about as well, I think, because I think it goes along with what we're talking about. So let's get into the scam, right? So like I said, the game is rigged against us. The foundation of this country is a capitalism that was founded on slavery, our ancestors, which means free labor or cheap labor, and the people at the top make all the money, make most of the money, right? And so if we are still operating in that same system, and in some ways we can't not operate it, in some ways we cannot operate in it. We can't not, I know it's a double negative, but we can't not operate in it because we live here, right? Like this is the system we're in. So we have to play the game a little bit. But I feel like if we do that to our own people's detriment, then that's how you kind of fail the game, right? So in my mind, if someone becomes a billionaire, right? Let's say Rihanna, because she just became a billionaire. If she became a billionaire and she's like, you know what? I'm giving away most of my money, right, to the Black community. We all win, right? We can all be Black excellence. But the problem is that's not happening. Like that's not happening. The people who are becoming billionaires, the people who are, getting these higher jobs, this high education, a lot of times, and it's not most times, but a lot of times they do not come back to their community to bring their people up. So then the divide gets further and further apart. You see what I'm saying? So again, if we're operating that same idea of Black excellence, we can't all be Black excellence in this definition anyway, in this regard. And so again, the scam of Black excellence is that it seems like after you reach the pinnacle of your success, or after you get $1 million, or after you get this degree, then you're worthy, then you're excellent, right? Then you'll be something worthy and valuable. Like, and again, if that is the definition, we're still judging ourselves based off of slave things, right? Off of, at the end of the day, it all goes back to slavery. Like, sadly, like for Black folks, it all goes back, because if we're standing on the block and someone is saying, oh, look at this person, look at, not even person, right? Like, because they didn't call them people, but I'm going to say person because they were people. Look at this person and look at their teeth. Look at how wide their hips are. Great for childbearing. Look at how strong they are. Look at the potential that they have to make you money, right? If we're judging ourselves by, look at how much $1 million I have. Look at how successful I am. Look at what look at what I'm achieving. And if we're using that as a way to judge ourselves, are we not doing the same thing? Is that not the same thing? Because that sounds like the same thing to me. Even with online stuff, like, I know it's like this war between the manosphere and Black women. It's very strange for me. But even because I wanted to avoid talking about that because I'm just like, people are crazy. But either way, like this war with like Kevin Samuels and all this other stuff, it's like, what's your dress size? What's your weight? What, like, you're literally using the same language that our captors used for us to judge our worth and our value. What does it matter what my size is? What does it matter what my weight is, right? Like, what does it matter? But again, we've adopted, the lights flickered, y'all. So if the electricity goes out, I'm sorry. But it looks like it might thunderstorm later or tonight. But either way, like, we're judging ourselves based off the same things that our captors judged us on. You know what I mean? Hi, Crystal. Hi. Is that that's a hand clap. Oh, yay. Appreciate it. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. But yes, like, we're judging ourselves as slaves. And then in turn, we become slaves to the system, because in this capitalistic system, there's never enough. My husband actually said that. In this system, there's never enough. There's never room for contentment in this system. In Black excellence, as we know it here, it's always about achieving more, doing more, right? It's all about, getting the next degree. Like, what's the next step? What's the next step in my career? Like, what is my 15-year plan? Like, it's really always about more. And there is no room for contentment or real joy, because we're too busy trying to be something that we don't see ourselves as already. Like, we're too busy trying to achieve all this stuff in hopes that in turn, one, we will be recognized, because the fact is that not all hard work is rewarded. And then secondly, that somehow I will see myself as worthy. But I really feel like the truth is, if you don't see yourself as worthy today, you won't see yourself as worthy when you get the $1 billion. Because now you'll be like, oh, well, now I need 50 billion. Now I need to own all these businesses. Now I need to form a conglomerate of businesses or whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Yeah, I couldn't see I'm sorry. I didn't have my glasses on. Hi, Omar. Hello from Buffalo, New York. Hi. Welcome. Crystal says, I completely agree. We can't all be. Right. Why can't we all be? Thank you. Exactly, right? I swear I was going to do a video about this today. You should still do it. You should still do it. Please still do it. Because we got to get this message out there. Like, I don't want to demonize people who achieve a lot of things. I don't want to make people feel bad, like, because that's not the goal, right? I celebrate them. I honor them. That's amazing, right? But also what happens is the people that choose not to do that thing are looked at as lazy, are looked at as, oh, you don't have no ambition. You don't have anything going for yourself. And it's like, or maybe they're just content. If the person's working at McDonald's and they're happy working at McDonald's and they're doing that job with everything, like to the glory of God, they working hard, like they're doing what they want to do. And working hard I use loosely because that's a hard job. I'm working at McDonald's. We talked about this last time, but either way, like if they're doing the job and it makes them happy and they are like being diligent with their job, why can't that be Black excellence? Why can't that be excellent? You know what I mean? If they're doing their job in excellence, can a person working at McDonald's be excellent? It's just a question I posed. Hi. Do you think people who compare themselves in our culture have a slave mentality or it's insecurities within themselves? I think it's both. And I feel like we're all privy to it. Like we're all victim of it. Even for myself, like I wrote later on, I was going to talk about, but I graduated. So it took me 9 years to get my degree. We talked about that before, but I felt like, oh, I need to go back to school. And one of the reasons, if I really went down to like the heart of why I wanted to go back, and this was like a while ago, it was because I wanted to be praised. I wanted to be validated. Like I saw all these people having all these graduation cookouts for like getting their PhD, for getting their master's, their second master's, their third master's, for starting a new job, like all this stuff. And I felt like, dang, like, what am I doing that's worthy of celebration? Like I'm being very real with you. Like I was really like about to go into more debt to go be celebrated. And I feel like it's because we and nothing's wrong with it, right? Like we celebrate people who achieve. But I really feel like if we really all saw everybody as Black excellence, I feel like we would have less college graduates. And I don't think that would be a problem. I feel like people would be content with themselves and be like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to start my own business. Or you know what? I'm just going to work at this job and be good. Like I'm fine. You know what I mean? But we're always pushed to do more. Even in the academic spaces, we're pushed to do more. After I graduated college, oh, what's your next plan for your master's? Girl, I don't know. It took me 9 years to get here, right? Like there was no time for me to really just chill and relax because we're so used to being really machines. Again, going all the way back to slavery, right? Like our worth literally was tied to what we could provide, what we could build, like what we could give like the owners, right? What we could give the people who owned us. And so I don't think that mindset has actually, I don't think that there has been time to actually undo that mindset. Like slavery was not that long ago. But I also feel like when we were freed, they released us with nothing. And so we had no room to rest. We had no room to like relax and really figure out like, okay, who am I? What do I want to do? Like, no, you got to survive. And so for that, I understand, right? But I think it is insecurities, but like, especially if you're with social media and all this other stuff, oh my God, everybody's graduating, everybody's getting married, everybody's having kids. Like it's really easy to compare your life with other people. But I do feel like the heart of the problem is slave mentality, because literally everybody in this country that's not wealthy or like billionaires, like everybody in this country is treated like a machine because again, that was the foundation of this country. You know what I mean? So I hope that answers your question. Jamal says, do you think the problem or scam is the motivation behind why folks pursue excellence? See, my next note was about that too. Yeah. So the scam, right? So we talked about earlier, again, I'll pull up the definition again. But we talked about how, there we go. We talked about how, this is the one I'm paying attention to obtain something by a scam, right? And so it's like, well, what are they obtaining? Your labor, your time, your energy, like your resources. Like the country is obtaining all these things through scamming us by telling us if we do more, if we make more money, if we achieve more, then we'll be worthy. I feel like that's the scam. The scam is really like running up people's energy and being like, oh, well, you work. And we heard about this. I don't know if she's here tonight, but we heard about this. A woman was talking about she can't retire till she's 70 years old. And she's been working for like decades. So that's a scam. That's a scam. Like it's like they're dangling. What do I have to dangle? Like they're dangling a carrot in front of your face. Like, hey, if you work hard enough, this will be your life after the fact. And then you get there and it's not, right? Because like it's supplemental income, it's not enough. Like you're stressed out, you're worried. And like you spend all of your waking hours working for somebody who is now a millionaire, who is now a billionaire, right? Like doing honest work. And I feel like that's the scam. Marcus, it's a trap. It is a trap. It's a trap, right? So I think the scam, I feel like the scam is the motivation actually. Yes. Like the motivation is like, hey, if you do this, you'll be X, Y, and Z, you'll be celebrated and famed and all this other stuff. And then like, after people graduate, I've heard from some of my own friends, like, okay, well, what am I do now? I guess I'm gonna go back to school because that's all I know how to be is a student. That's all I know how to be is a machine. That's all I know how to be. I don't know how to be anything else. And I feel like people who are content in their lives are the ones disrupting the system. Like they're the ones who are like, I'm out, right? I'm leaving the country, or, I'm going to buy land and build a tiny house and be content with my farm and my family. They're the ones that are dangerous to the society. But we'll get to that in a second. But yes, let me remove this. So built by creatives. This is interesting. I'm glad you found it interesting. Yay. One Above All says people wanting more in life does not mean that they aren't content with who they are. That is more so people's own individual level of aspiration. I mean, yeah, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. If I did, I apologize. That's not what I mean. But what I'm saying is that sometimes we do want more because it's appealing, because it's what's pushed to us. Sometimes I really feel like we never get to question ourselves and be like, do I want this, or is someone telling me to want this? Do I want this job, or is someone telling me to want this job? Do I want this degree, or is someone telling me to do this? And I've fallen victim to that, right? Like, so I'm not making a judgment on anybody. But what I am saying is that it's not realistic to say that everything we want to do is from our own influences. Like, I feel like we're all influenced by everybody around us. And so if you're around a lot of people or in a corporation who's always telling you to do more, give more, like in a society, this whole society is structured to be like more, give me more of your soul, more of your time, more of your energy. And sadly, for some of those people who do give more, they don't have time to actually enjoy what they do have because they're in pursuit of more. So no, it's not everybody. I agree with you. But there are some people like myself who struggle with aspiring to something because I'm thinking there's something on the other side of the door and it's not. You know what I mean? So I hope that makes sense. It's a trap. It is. Is that an octopus? Tell me more about that octopus. Oh, okay. Wing and Will 500 says we're basically John Henry when he took on the train. Exactly. We're working so hard, and there's nothing wrong with hard work, right? I'm not villainizing it, but honestly, like, the system is crooked. And in order to win this crooked game, we have to bend in some ways and forfeit some things in order to win in this game. Like, and I've seen some, even about Rihanna, like I've seen some people question her ethics because she is a billionaire, right? A lot of people believe billionaires shouldn't exist. I'm one of them. But I also feel like in order to become a billionaire in this country, you can't become a billionaire ethically. It's just not possible. It's not possible. And we have billionaires while there are people sleeping on the streets. We have billionaires when people are starving. It doesn't make sense to me, right? And so, but that's just my own, my own thing. And a lot of other people feel that way. So it's like, even when we're talking about, working towards something, the truth is we all can't make it. We all can't make it. We all cannot be billionaires. It's not possible. Like, we all can be billionaires. But we're pursuing this thing to be a billionaire in hopes that we will. And really, we just end up burned out. You know what I mean? So Jamal CP says, there's a thin veil between internal inspiration and external inception. Absolutely. Internal inspiration, I like that. And external inception, like just like the movie, like how they went deep in their dreams and like put a seed in there. And it was like, and then he woke up and was like, where'd this idea come from? I really feel like society does that to us. Like, it tells us what to like. It tells us what to buy. Why do we all wear the same kind of clothes? Why do we all like aspire for the same things? Because we're taught, you know what I mean? We're taught to want what we want until we decide like, oh, actually, I don't even like that. If we have time to think about what we like, right? So that's privilege anyway. So Omar says, Black excellence is realizing that you don't need others to feel worthy or asking if your existence matters. Black excellence is encouraging yourself when no one else will or can. I agree with that definition, right? And I feel like I'm leaning more towards your definition of what Black excellence is because it is inclusive. It's inclusive. The other version is exclusive. And so if there's only a few Black excellent people, then where does that leave us, right? Like, where does that leave the rest of the folks, who are who nobody will ever know their name, but they're diligent and they're kind, you know what I mean? And they're giving and they're loving. And so to me, that is excellent, right? Like that is excellent. And so I guess it really depends on what your definition of excellence is. But I agree with you, Omar Brown. One above also says, so how would I know if my dreams are my own instead of society? Honestly, it would take a lot of work. I'm still working through that. There are some things, like even with my music, for example, I'm like, dang, I need to get more listeners on Spotify. And it's like, for what? Like, yes, I want people to listen to my music, but like, what is the goal, right? Because I told y'all that when you listen to a song on Spotify, the artist gets 0.004 cent, 0.004 cent every stream. It's not even a whole cent, right? So I'm like, why do I want a bunch of listeners on Spotify? And honestly, it's an ego thing, right? If I could look at the numbers and say, oh my God, 1,000 people listened to me this month, that would feel good. You know what I mean? That would feel good. And why would that feel good? Because by other people's standards, like, I'm a successful artist. But if I define what success is for myself, then I get to determine what I celebrate. I get to determine if I win. And that's just a small example, but like vanity metrics is something that we fall into easily because everything is numbered, right? Your credit score, the followers on Instagram, your followers on YouTube, if you have a YouTube, the money you make in every 2 weeks, or whatever, however you get paid, like we're all like numbered. We're like in a numbered society. And so like where you live, right? Your residential zip code, like that determines how important you are. And so I really feel like the work is in determining what you actually like, what you actually enjoy. And the truth of the matter is that we haven't had real space and time to figure those things out. Like until we really unplug and be like, okay, what is really making me happy? What is really making me come alive? And what is enough? And what is success for me? You know what I mean? So I hope that helped answer your question. Jamal says, if we can't all be billionaires, does that mean we can't be excellent? Exactly. That's the question I'm posing, right? And so he says, I ask because the definition of excellence is the fact or state of excelling, superiority, eminence. Eminence, that's a strong word. So then maybe we should use a different phrase. I don't know, like black. I don't know, just like black. Like, why can't black be it? Like, why can't blackness be it? Because the truth of the matter is that blackness comes in all different kinds of dialects, educational backgrounds, again, different, what do you call them? Like if you grew up in the rural area versus like the city versus suburban, there's so many different, like we are multifaceted people. And so why, if we want everyone to win, then we can't use the word excellent. You're actually pointing out a good point. That's not even in there, but you're pointing out a good point. If we're talking about excelling, which is the root word of excellence, right? Eminence, I don't even like that. I don't know, the way that sounds like, but superiority, yeah, you have to be superior over somebody else to be excellent. Anywho, we'll come back to that, but that's a good point. That's a good point. So again, we end up working and striving for Western society's definition of success, and we're never enough. The thing is, in this society, we will never, ever, ever be enough. One, I mean, from society's views, right? Like we can be enough to ourselves and each other, but like they always want more. It's never content. It's never, okay, you've made it, good job. You can relax now. It's like, no, like now it's like, oh, you've made CEO. Well, now I don't know. Now you got to become a partner. I don't even know how this works, but like, climbing the corporate ladder. Why can't I just be here? And I was actually on, shout out to Picky Girl Travels the World, on her podcast. We were talking about this article that she said that she read, or this article, I think, and the title of it is, why can't I just be mediocre? Like, what's wrong with being mediocre? What is wrong with being mediocre? Why is that not okay? It's because in this society, the game is they're feeding you like, no, you don't want to be mediocre. You got to be excellent. You got to excel. You got to be extraordinary. And it's like, but you could just be mediocre. And mediocre sounds bad. It sounds bad. It's just like when people want to be amateurs, right? Amateur doesn't mean bad. Amateur means you do it for the love of it, right? But again, they change the definitions of things to skew your vision of yourself and be like, dang, I need to do better. I need to do more. Like, and that's like me exercising. Like I walked for 2 miles and I'm like, I need to do more. I got to lift weights. Like it's like, but why? The whole goal is to be healthy. You're not trying to be on Sports Illustrated, not this year anyway, right? Like you just want to be healthy. And so again, that comes with like defining what your definition of success. And I feel like, and if we use the word excellence, right, then we should each individually own our own excellence, because we can always excel beyond where we were, I think, or even our mental state. Like we can always excel and be excellent in that way, not compared to anybody else, but really just like, I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. I feel like when people get to a place where they're really doing something because they want to do it, I feel like that is excellent. I feel like that is excellent. That's excelling beyond social norms. It's excelling beyond what is seen as normal or valued here in this country, in this Western society, I should say. You know what I mean? So, Crystal says, yes, I did a YouTube video on Black mediocrity. Yes, we just gotta be. That's it. Yes, just be, right? Like, and I feel like even with not being okay with being mediocre, that's where like imposter syndrome comes in. So imposter syndrome is when you really feel like you're an imposter. Like, oh, when I'm coming here doing these lives, girl, who are you? You don't, you ain't got no background in this. You don't, you're a singer, but you never studied music. And I realized that when I put myself in positions where I'm competing with other people or being graded or where metrics can play a part in it, when I'm doing something for the judgment of other people, that's when I start to feel like an imposter. Like, it's like, God, like I can't do this because I'm not degreed or I'm not experienced. It's like, by whose standard? I've been singing all my life. And so does that not count for anything because I don't have a degree from Berkeley or from what, Juilliard? I don't even know if they give out music degrees. Like, does that discount my experience? It's like, no, like I can stand firm and be like, you know what? I might not be able to, be in your hoity-toity program. I might not could read music. That's right. I might not could read music, but I like singing. I like singing and I like the way that I sing. And that could be enough, if that makes sense. So anyway, Tony says, hi, Tony. It's because we've given and been programmed to believe mediocrity has a negative connotation. I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you because when I think of mediocrity or what that would look like in today's society, I think of my grandma. I think of my grandpa, my pop, my granddaddy, right? I think of my great grandmother, people who I've met, you know what I'm saying? And by today's standards, they would be looked at as mediocre, but they were excellent. They were excellent. They were amazing. And I knew their character. And so if I saw that they were amazing, why can't the janitor at the school be amazing? You know what I mean? I agree with you 100%. What's Crystal Handy's YouTube? Yes. Crystal Handy's YouTube is That's So Handy. Is that correct, Crystal? Unless you change it, I think that's it. Let me actually see if I can put the link here. Yes, please support her. Let's see. Every time I see That's So Handy, I think that's so Raven. That's so handy. Yeah. Here we go. I'm going to share the link with you guys. Copy, paste. Of course, girl. Yay. Okay, awesome. That's the name. Awesome. But yes, please follow her. She's amazing. And so she says, S Lady 707 says, I agree, Omar. Yes. Jamal says, fun fact, excellence is an antonym of mediocre. Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, yay, awesome. I was about to try to search and realize her comment came from Facebook. Yes. Good point, Jamal. Thanks for the link. Oh, you're welcome. But yeah, that is a good point. It's like, wow, that is the opposite. Well, that makes sense then. That's why we fear being mediocre, because it's like, oh, I can't be mediocre. I have to be excellent. Let me tell you something. When I found out that when you apply for a job, they don't look at your high school transcripts, and I was busting my butt to get 4.12s, I was like, what was I doing? What was I doing? Running myself in the ground for this made up idea of what excellence was. You know what I mean? And then I also realized I had a 4.12 when I got to college and was like struggling in everything. And I was very mediocre, but I was proud of that C because I gave that C everything I had. That was not mediocre to me. By their standards, that was mediocre when I got that C in that class. But I did that. I pulled through. Even sometimes when I got a D, I'm not even playing with y'all. When I got a D, I said, you know what? That's good enough. I'm out. Right. So it is all about perception and about truth and about what we know about ourselves. Okay, so going back to my notes. So we end up having a slave mentality again, judging ourselves and others based on what we can bring, what we can provide, and so on and so on. So again, like I mentioned before about the whole Kevin Samuels thing and the whole manosphere or whatever, it's always about women. What can you bring to the table? How old are you? It's just silly things. And it's like, yo, we're back on the slave block. Welcome. We have not progressed at all. We're back on the slave block. And so we end up fractioning ourselves off into better Blacks versus worse Blacks, right? If you are, sadly, and I'm just going to be honest, in this culture, colorism is a thing. Colorism is a thing. Ageism is a thing. Classism is a thing. So any number of those things, especially as a Black woman, like any number of those things can fraction you off into like a better Black versus a lesser Black. And don't get me started if like you use AAVE or Ebonics, right? If you say like earlier when I said you might not could, right? Like if you speak like, then they're gonna look down on you and say, oh, you're not educated. Oh, you're less than. And don't walk out the house with a bonnet. I know people don't like this conversation, but y'all really judge people based on how they walk out their house as if that makes you better than them. Like, again, when I see a woman coming out with a bonnet, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I know sis is on her way minding her business, okay? But I also understand that this respectability politics is very, very deep within the Black community because we think that if we show up a certain way, we'll be respected. If we show up a certain way, they'll treat us like this. If we speak a certain way, if we have a certain education, you know what I mean? So I also understand where that pride comes from. Like, I got a degree. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I got a master's. That's my imaginary hair. I have a master's, right? Like, I'm good. Look at me. Like, I'm excelling. And I understand that. But I think really, if we really question, like, why are we doing this? Why are we judging other people based on this stuff? Then it has nothing to do with me. Like, what is the real issue when it comes to stuff like this? So, E. Dunlap, hi. It says, I dropped out and Black people gave me hell for it. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. Like, I know that I was the embarrassment of my family for a long time because it took me 9 years to graduate. I know I was. And at the time, I was really sad. I was really sad. And I really felt like I was a failure. You know what I mean? And then when I finally got my degree and everybody celebrated me for 5 minutes and it was gone, it was like, dang, what did I do that for? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because I wanted the applause. I wanted the praise. You know what I mean? And so yeah, no, I understand. Like for a lot of Black folks, because we couldn't, and I get it. I understand why. Because we couldn't go to these institutions, because we couldn't make it. Now going to these institutions makes us somebody. It makes our people or our family really. Like going to college is really for your family. Like, oh my God, they're going to college, right? It makes them feel like they did something right. But the thing is, like, even if you never went to college, you still did do something right. Are they good people? Are they good humans? Are they upright, upstanding? Then you did an excellent job. You know what I mean? Like, and so for me, even if we have kids, like, I'm not going to push, if this is how it's going now, I'm not going to push my kids into college because, and that's also something I wrote down. We talk about everything, even though it's not going in order. That's awesome. But I feel like it's not even, I feel like the truth is that even though Blacks were going to college at a higher rate, we also had the most debt. We came from no money. So when we got our degree, the money that we made, we brought it back to our families. And so now we're at square one again, right? So yes, we have the degree, but we're also underpaid, right? And if you're a Black woman, you're underpaid, or a Black man, you're underpaid, right? Like, so, but then you bring the money back to your family to help them out. But because you don't have generational wealth, because you don't have a home, or maybe your home is in a red line section, there's so many layers to this. We don't have the same wealth. The outcome is not the same for our white counterparts. It's just not. So technically, a lot of people who didn't go to college ended up faring a lot better than us. Like a lot better than us. Like a lot of people who didn't go to college, like my friends, fared a lot better than me. And now I have all the student loan debt and they're able to thrive and start from zero. I got to catch up. You see what I'm saying? And so we don't count that cost. Like, yes, it looks good on paper. Yes, it sounds good, right? But really counting the cost, what excellence requires and costs us, it really shows us that it's not really that excellent. Like it sounds good, it looks good, it's cute, but it's not really that excellent. Tony says, oh my God, don't get me started with the bonnets. Look, I wear my bonnet if I have $2 or 200K. Listen, I'm with you, sis, okay? I'll wear my bonnet too. I ain't got no hair right now, but I would wear my bonnet. I don't care. Omar says, I often tell students that I hire at my university is to not busting your behind, to be invited to this imaginary table. Yes. Thank you for telling them. Thank you for telling them that. Like, yes. I agree with that 100%. This is so good. I'm glad this is good. Yay. E. Dunlap says, I have met some dumbasses who have degrees, masters even. Same. And really, I'm going to say this because I know this isn't everybody's experience, but beyond learning ASL, like American Sign Language, that's what I went to school for. Beyond learning the language and like the history and the culture, I don't remember a thing except jazz. Jazz, I learned a lot. Jazz class, but I could have just Googled that, right? I don't remember a thing. I might remember how to like name a rock, maybe. But other than that, I couldn't tell you what I did for those 9 years. Could not tell you. I have no idea. Tony says we really tend to live our lives for other people. The degrees, traditions, and all are to please other people. Exactly. We live our lives for other people, for the prestige, for the glamour of it, for like the hand clap, for the graduation party. And again, I'm not knocking it. Like I have a lot of friends who have a lot of degrees, but they're actually like doing stuff with their degrees, and some of them are not. And some of them are not doing anything with it because they're really chasing that degree for success, for accolades, to feel like you're really groomed to be a student. Like they don't teach you any life skills. And when I was going to school, they didn't really teach us any life skills. There wasn't any like how to drive. I think they had maybe one cooking class. What is that going to do me? I've been cooking since I was a kid, right? Like so beyond that, you're really not prepared to be an adult. Like you go to college and you graduate, it's like, oh my God, like this whole big wide world. What am I supposed to do? And so a lot of people just end up going back to school anyway, So Jamal says facts, bars, absolutely. The solution is to simply drop out and opt out. For some people, yes. Like if you want to be a doctor, yes, then go to school because you have to, right? But yeah, you don't have to go to college. Like there's so many people who are starting their own businesses, like starting their own schools, right? If you want to learn a trade, go to a trade school or go, intern under somebody. Like get the hours you need to go get the certifications, and boom, be on your way and save a lot of money. Okay, you don't have to do that. Marcus says student loan debt ain't no joke. Fam, listen, it's not. It's not. It is so oppressive. It is so oppressive. Says, I agree, Tony. Yes, exactly. And one thing I want to touch on before we start to come to the conclusion of this is this idea of laziness versus exhaustion, right? Again, like I said, the pursuit of Black excellence is never ending. Like the way that the society is set up, you only get 2 weeks if you're lucky, unless you're like a teacher. But even then, that's a whole other conversation. Teachers, correct me, okay, if I'm wrong. But like, unless you work in a field where you don't have to be at the school, like, or at the place, the whole time, you only get two weeks, maybe 4 for some people, if you're lucky. And you really think that you're going to be primed and like working at your potential and like really healthy and happy. And you wonder why you have no time for your hobbies, or no time to start your own stuff, or no time to do the inner working and searching of what you actually want to do. It's because you're exhausted. You're exhausted. And the thing about capitalism is that everybody who opts out of the system is deemed as lazy. People who drop out of school, oh, you lazy, you not committed. It's like, or they decided that this isn't for them, right? People who opt out of working 40 hours a week, you're lazy. You should be working 40. Why? If they can afford the life they want to afford on 20 hours a week, why can't they? Let them be happy. Let them be great, right? And so it's jarring for us when we see other people choosing to opt out of the system. Like E. Dunlap, was that you? Yes, when you dropped out of school and people gave you hell, that was probably because it was triggering for them. It was triggering for not you. You're good. Like, I'm fine. But for other people, it's like, why don't you want to play this game? Why don't you want to keep achieving? Why don't you want to play in the system? And for some people, they don't get it because that's how we're trained, until we're like, you know what? This is actually all rigged. It's a scam. It's a setup. It's a trap, like Marcus said, right? And so when we actually reach that point, be like, you know what? I'm good. I don't want to work hard. I've said this to people, and they're like, like, and I'm like, no. And even myself, when I first said that, I don't want to work hard. That was hard for me to say and admit, because all my life I've been told, I'm a Black woman. You got to work twice as hard to get half as far. My whole life, my entire life. And I'm sure other Black people have been told the same thing. And then I'm like, but why? Why? If I have to get half as far in the system for working doubly as hard as my counterparts, I don't want to play. I don't want to play this game. I don't. Yep, I'm lazy. I know that's right. Like, people will project their fears onto you. Exactly. Omar says, I personally feel we can start fighting the Black excellence war by first start with character building. That may lead to awareness that you are self-incorporated. Absolutely. I agree. It starts with the inside, not like the exterior anything. Like people, janitor from the CEO, like they said, like, you show everybody respect. Whatever your chosen path is, everybody is excellent. Everybody deserves excellence. E. Dunlap says, I don't have much, but I don't have outrageous debt. And people pulling on my tapas all day. Listen. Crystal says, I think that's the real freedom for Black people, that we don't need validation from others. And we could really use encouragement from us because we get enough put down from others. I 100% agree. And y'all are right on. We rolling. Y'all are right with me right now. Yes, like I agree. Excuse me. So laziness versus exhaustion. In this pursuit of Black excellence, there is no room for contentment or just enough, right? And again, that's for my husband. He said that like there's no room for enough, for contentment, for being like, I'm good. Black folks have been told that they're lazy since slavery ended. Since the end of slavery, when we said we're not working for free no more, we're lazy. And so we have spent so much time trying to not earn that label. And I get it because it's trauma, right? But at the same time, it's like, let's look at this with the truth, with a true lens. Like, they're not lazy. Our ancestors were hardly lazy. They literally built their lives after slavery ended from scratch. How was that lazy? How was any of that lazy? That's exhausting. And one thing that we are is exhausted. And so when people opt out of like working hard, it's like it's looked down on, but it's like, actually, no, I'm just not opting to work hard anymore because my family, like who came before me, the blood who runs through my veins, like they worked hard and I've inherited their exhaustion. Like I've inherited their exhaustion. And so, the thing is, slavery created the capitalistic place we live in. That's what we know, right? In order to make this country rich, they had to have free labor to make money. So cheap and free labor and wealthy at the top, that's the system. And so if we put all the people who are poor against each other, like, and call them lazy, like you're not working hard enough, then we're all going to be incentivized to work hard so that we're not labeled lazy by our counterparts. So that the people at the top make the money. It's a game. It's a scam. Like if we choose not to work hard, then the people at top don't make no money. And so even today I saw a post about people on unemployment and it really made me mad. I decided not to respond because it just was going to make me mad. We just had a dialogue back and forth. But this person basically said that people are on unemployment because they're lazy. I don't agree with that. I think that's very insulting. I think that's a lazy argument to make, that they're on it because they're lazy. Because the whole point was like, oh, if they gave, people who work $300 extra, you would have less people on unemployment. Okay. And you might not, but also the problem isn't them being on unemployment. The problem is they're not getting paid enough on a job. Like the problem is not the poor person. The problem is the person at the top in charge. And so it's this facade that like somehow this person beside me is my enemy, but the person beside me has no power. The person in power is setting up the system so that we're arguing against each other about stupid stuff that we cannot control. You're not lazy. You're not lazy for being content. You're not lazy. You're tired. We're all tired. I'm gonna be honest. I'm exhausted. Okay. And so Black excellence assumes that we want more. It teaches us to be discontent and to always be striving and to never rest. And when we just choose to rest, then we're looked as lazy. Like we all have this experience. Well, we might all have it, but Saturday morning when your mom wakes you up and you're like, it's time to get up. And you're like, why? Like, I'm tired. Because it's just time to get up. What? Like, why? What does that mean? Why do I have to get up and I'm tired? Because we're taught that we don't have any room to just rest and lay and chill. Like, no, like you got to get up because you got to get up. Like, you're not lazy. Stop being lazy. Your child is tired. They're not lazy. Like, you're tired. And you're mad that your child is sleeping in and choosing to sleep in when you could sleep in too, if you want, if you want. And I understand that that's coming from a privileged place because some people can't sleep in on Saturdays because they have to work. So I understand that. But what I'm talking about is people who have the choice to not do anything and they choose to do, and they get mad at the people who choose not to do, like their kids or their spouses. So it's like, I don't want to run around with my head cut off on Saturdays. I'm tired, Let's see. Built by Creative says, let's not forget a lot of teachers work at home. That's true. And have more than one job and have kids. Like, that's a lot of work. That's work. They do have more than one job. You're absolutely right, because they're not paid enough. Thank you for saying that. Real talk. Yeah. E. Dunlap, fighting the so-called excellence thing starts with individuals. I agree. Waiting for the whole community, you better have corralling cats. That's funny. But that's true. That is true. It does start with individual. Absolutely. And I feel like even in people getting triggered by other people choosing to rest, I feel like that low key gives other people freedom to be able to rest too. Like eventually they might be like, you know what? They're not starved to death yet. They're not out their house yet. They're not, they haven't been thrown out. They haven't been evicted. Maybe there is something to this rest thing. Maybe you're planting seeds for other people to be free themselves, Tony says, OMG, I got to the point where hearing you're so hardworking made me sad instead of feeling accomplished. That is real. And hard work is not a badge of honor. It's not. People work hard because they have to, or they work hard because they feel like they have to, right? Like nobody really wants to work hard. Like nobody really wants to work hard. Like we talked about this last time. Nobody wants to work hard. People want the reward of working hard, but nobody really wants to put in that time. If so, Jeff Bezos would be in the factory with his people, with the people who work for him, but he's not. He was in a spaceship, right? Like, people don't want to work hard. And so a lot of times also hard work does not pay off for a lot of people. Sadly, it doesn't. It doesn't. People can have all great intentions and still not earn what they're supposed to earn. Pop, my grandfather had like a few jobs, 3 jobs. They all died poor. You know what I mean? They had enough. Like, they weren't destitute, but they did die poor. And so, yeah. E. Dunlap, I'm out here looking for work and employers are still being stingy. They are. I've seen it. I'm so tired of people fighting for 15-hour crumbs. You cannot live on $15 an hour. What do people not understand about this? People are not lazy. They just can't live. When you count in gas to get to the job, childcare to care for their children if they have children while they're at work, like if you're talking about food, clothing, shelter, all the things you need, 15 an hour, you're literally making money to go to your job. You're literally making money. I remember when I was serving at Lucky Strike, I made just enough to get home. And I was like, I could have stayed home for free. I could have stayed home for free, because when you're serving, you just get tips. And so I made just enough to get home on the metro in DC. I made just enough. It's all messed up. We can't take naps midday without calling it a guilty pleasure. That is so real. I feel really guilty for taking a nap and not doing anything too. And I'm trying to unlearn that. I'm trying to give myself permission for that. But yeah, it is hard. It's hard to not call it a guilty pleasure, because even a guilty pleasure, what are you guilty about? You tired. But yeah, this society tells us to jam pack our schedules, always be doing something, always be excelling, always be improving. It's like, well, dang, can I just live in the moment for today? Just maybe one day. Jamal says, yeah, it's shocking. It's a shocking display of poor conditions of the system we live in. Absolutely. Overwork and underpaid for sure. F hard work and the really lazy people promoting it. No, for real. Thank you for saying that. That is actually a beautiful way to put this. That's so eloquent. The lazy people are promoting hard work. They're not working hard. They're not. Thank you for saying that. I got to leave this up for a minute, because that's so true. Classism, again. If this is all true about excellence, we all can't be excellent. There's going to be some that are going to be lesser than, some that are better than. And so that's not benefiting the culture at all, because one, we don't have the structure to be able to have all this division within the Black community. We just don't. Like, literally, we're creating these own wars inside our own community. Nobody cares. They all look at us Black. They all look at us as Black. They all look at us as Black, which is why in the civil rights era, they had to say Black excellence, because you will respect me. You will honor me. You will see me. You will serve me. Right. And so now we feel like, oh, we've come a little way. Now we can be divided. It's like, what are we being divided about? All Blackness is beautiful in every form. Every form is beautiful. There's no better, no worse. Listen, a word, okay? A word. Sorry, one above all says, how big is the difference between working hard and How big is the difference between working hard and mediocrity in a general sense? How big is the difference? I think if you're talking about my definition of hard work, like, I think hard work is just labor, like just, excruciating work, like just working hard, like being exhausted by the end of your day, versus mediocrity is like being content with enough, doing enough. Like, once you figure out, like, okay, what do I need to live, right? Like, how much does it cost me to live? If I have a job that pays that and I can save a little bit and have a little cushion and some room, some breathing room, if I can give to other people, it depends on what your values are. But if I can give to people, if I can, save up for a car, whatever it is, like whatever it is you need, if you have that, I feel like that's mediocre. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that's fine. Especially if you're single, like that's fine. You know what I mean? I feel like hard work is just what it sounds like. It's just like grinding, hustling, like striving, like always like being exhausted and just being tired, like chasing after something, chasing after the wind, like the Bible says, chasing after the wind, like chasing after something that is, it's like a facade. It's not real. Like, because once you achieve this achievement, it's like, it's on to the next thing, right? It's about getting more. Like, I need more. I got to have more, versus like, I'm good. I'm content. I could have more and I might have more. Like, I might do it with more ease, but I'm not finna stress myself out for some coins. If that makes sense. That's just my definition. Anybody else can share their own definition, please. S Lady says, throughout the pandemic, I got reacquainted with the real me. I love that. And I tell you that I have not been more content, aligned, beautiful, and creative. I love that. I love that so much. So like, my husband and I have an RV YouTube channel, and we talked about this last time we went live. And when we were RVing, there was a time where we didn't have any money. Like we were literally stranded. I use stranded very loosely. We were stranded in Southwest Florida in Fort Myers. So we were there in our RV for like 2 weeks. But when I tell you that like God came through every day, like we ate every day. We went to the beach like almost every other day. We got ice cream. Like we had these little joys. And in that time where I had the least, I felt the most abundant. I felt the most like clear and calm, right? I wasn't striving for all this stuff. I was worried for sure, but I wasn't striving. I was really like, this is nice. I haven't really taken time to just enjoy the beach and sit there and be quiet and look at the waves, right? Like, I feel like in those moments are content. Even though I know that there is work to be done, even though I know that we have to get ourselves out of the situation, I was still content. And I feel like that's the difference. It's not about trying to like achieve everything. It's about like making each day count, like making each day matter. You know what I mean? Like feeling free enough to create just for the sake of creating and not to monetize it, not to like figure out some sort of like just being a human being, like just being a creation, just sitting. Like we're the only things on this planet. We're the only things on this planet that like worry and stress about what's to come. It's a gift and a curse, right? It's a gift and a curse. Every other animal lives day to day. I literally looked at the birds. This was a few years ago in the snow, and it had a little puffy coat on and it was eating, and I cried. I cried because I'm like, wow, this bird is not worried about what it's finna eat tomorrow. This bird is not worried about building a business. This bird is not worried about, this bird is free. This bird is free and it has all its needs met. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yes, I love that. I think that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. So again, what does Black excellence leave us as we start to wrap up, right? It leaves us tired, discontent, prideful, or self-loathing, in debt, bound, afraid of how we'll be viewed from the outside world or our counterparts or our people, right? Like we're afraid of how we're going to be viewed from the outside world. And it's like, if we want to really be free, we really have to remove the shackles of Black excellence because it's not benefiting us. Like this definition of Black excellence anyway. I feel like the beginning definition of it is that all Black people are excellent. And now what we've changed that into is like, only the select few of Black people are excellent. And I feel like this is to our detriment. This is tearing us down from the inside out. In our communities too. Like, again, this is why you have the bonnet conversation. This is why you have the conversations about, people talking too loud on the phone. Sometimes that's just annoying just because loud noises just kind of jar me. Like that's when you have the conversations about like, oh, you talking Ebonics or AAVE. This is a collegiate institute. Like this is where you have those kind of conversations. This is why you have, shout out to everybody who went to Howard. I love y'all. But the conception of Howard University is not very good. It's not a very good foundation. You got the paper brown bag test. You know what I'm saying? Like you have these things because you think that your closeness to whiteness or white ideals or Western ideals, Western society means that you're better, means that you're good. When really you were good when they took you from your homeland. You were excellent then. You were excellent before you had to enter into the system that takes everything from you and gives nothing back. And I really feel like if we start to look at ourselves like that, if we start to look at our counterparts like that, we can lose. We can lose. So again, what is the cure, right? What is, like, at the end of the day, like what does this all mean? Like, what does this all come down to? Can we not celebrate accomplishments? Of course we can. Duh, we should always celebrate accomplishments. But I do feel like if we redefine what Black excellence was, we would be celebrating every accomplishment and not just college, not just, I don't know, getting $1 million or $1 billion. We'd be celebrating everything. We'd be celebrating everything and everybody. Because why not? Because we're excellent. Because we're amazing, right? Or whatever word we want to use instead of excellent. Because, Merriam-Webster has jacked up that definition. But maybe like I said, we wouldn't have as many people going to college. Maybe we wouldn't have as many people buying $1 million houses with $1,000 mortgages. Maybe we wouldn't have so many people on this track doing the same thing because we feel like the American dream is where it's at. The American dream is screwed. It has been screwed from the beginning. I feel like we need to discover and stick to our own dreams. And so that takes time and it takes work and that takes unlearning and really learning about ourselves. You know what I mean? And so again, maybe we wouldn't have so much dissension, like so much competition or so much like judgment on other people if we actually saw ourselves as excellent. Maybe we wouldn't strive so much, and maybe we would maybe we would dismantle the system. Maybe if we could start like picking it apart by just seeing ourselves as excellent every single day, instead of lining the pockets of billionaires while people are ranting and complaining about people on unemployment. It's like, sis, that's the least of your worries. These people paid into the system. They're good. Worry about the people up top hoarding the money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So again, we're all Black excellence. That's the whole point of this whole conversation. We wouldn't be tired. We'd be content. And honestly, I do feel like even this definition of excellent, I understand is off, but I do feel like all Black people are excellent, and we can all be excellent. It's not a competition. We can all win. So, let's see. For real, yes. E. Dunlap says, cure, let it pass you by and do whatever you want. Isn't that real freedom? Oh my God. Isn't that real freedom? Doing what you want. Anyway, celebrate people who are going through their own journey, including when it comes time for them to realize what we're all realizing now. That's beautiful. And that's a good point, right? Because no one is better. Like, people who look down on people who say like, oh, you're lazy. And then you like, oh, you're just a cog in the system. That's not helpful either. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. Like, yes, like, celebrate everybody at every step and every turn, and understand that this could be just little seeds that you're planting. Like I said, you living your life, minding your business, like that could be seed. People are watching you. People are always watching you. And so sometimes you don't have to say anything until they ask you about it. Or like if somebody's coming at you sideways, defend yourself. But I feel like you minding your business, doing what you're put here to do, like living your own life, is all the inspiration other people need. It is. So I hope this was helpful. I know this was a lot, but overall, I hope that that you all are inspired to see yourself as excellent, because you are, not because of what you have, your accolades, your degrees, your money, none of that stuff. Like, none of that stuff matters. You're excellent because you're a created being. You're amazing. And so, so all week, E. Dunlap says, damn right, I pay taxes and everything, even if I buy a candy bar. Okay, they tax everything. They tax everything. If you want EBT and unemployment, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? First of all, okay, this little side note, me and Marcus were having this conversation about people taking money from employment or receiving money from employment from a system that's supposed to pay people or supplement income, because nobody can live off of this whole other conversation. That's not real money. Who can live off of $300 a week? Like, you can, it's possible, but like, people got kids, people have things. Rent is expensive, okay? Especially in the DMV area, that's expensive. But either way, no one's questioning the people who are in the government making these decisions for us. No one's saying y'all getting paid too much. They're getting money from the government too. So like, where does it end? Where does it stop? Like, these are the conversations you should be having, not about the people who need help. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Jamal says, great talk. I'm glad. That makes me happy. Tony says, the cure to me is accepting and being proud of someone else. I'm sorry. The cure to me is accepting and being proud that someone else can be at peace living a life that looks different from your own. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're all going to get there to our own bliss, hopefully, our own way. You know what I'm saying? Our own way. Bumpkin. Hi, Bumpkin. Hell yeah, my cousin with special needs is just as excellent as anybody else. Absolutely. Life is hard enough. Don't waste it on fruitless comparisons. Fruitless comparisons. That's a good phrase, because what does it profit? Like, really, what does it profit? Oh yeah, exactly. We get Wolf 500. Alicia Rants has arrived. Yes. I have so many things I want to talk to y'all about. I'm excited. But either way, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you coming. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. I love interacting with you. And so, like I said, for the month of August and September, I'll be doing affirmational loops every other day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then on opposite days. And I'll be talking about the content or the music that I create. And hopefully it'll add some encouragement to you. So if you like that, be sure to subscribe. Let me know. And I want to know, like, what encouragement you all need to hear. Like, I want to make songs for you, like specifically for you, for your story, for your struggles, for your joys. Like, it'd be happy things too. But I just want to make music for people. I want to spread love with my music, with our talks. Like, this stuff like this matters to me. So let me know. Think about it. Come back to this video, leave a comment. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for talking to me. As always, I'm going to be shouting out everybody that came and commented. Even the people who didn't comment, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you being here. So starting off, Marcus, thank you. Jamiel, S Lady 707, Wigamo 500, Built by Creatives, Just Be, One Above All. Let's see, Crystal. And y'all make sure you follow her, please. Let me see. Is the link still here? Yes. Okay. I'll put her link there again. Be sure to follow her, subscribe. She's great. Omar Brown, thank you. Ivina Woods, please correct me if I'm saying that wrong. Thank you so much for being here. And if I miss you, please forgive me. Tony, thank you. S Lady again. E Dunlap, thank you so much. Omar, thank you. I don't know if I said you already, but that's okay. Double time for you if I did. I think. No. We have one more, I know. Let's see. Marcus again. Oh, yeah, Bumpkin. Bumpkin, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. E Dunlap says, moving from being a worker bee to being more entrepreneurial is my struggle. Same. And yeah, I'll make something for you for sure. For sure. And I'll make some more content about entrepreneur stuff too, because I want to interview other people and share their experiences because they have a lot of stuff to offer. I know a lot of people who do a lot of things and they're just amazing. So yay. Thank y'all so much. Have a wonderful evening. I love you. Love each other. Love yourselves. Okay. And keep making stuff, keep being yourself, keep pursuing the stuff that you want to pursue. And yeah, you'll get to your joy. You'll get to your bliss. All right. So good night. Good night, everybody.